Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Stephen Reardon, and in this episode, I'll be sharing a few takeaways from a podcast that I listened to recently called Narrative Persuasion. It really made me think about how powerful our approach to communication can be, especially when you're trying to make a difference on long-held beliefs and issues that people care about. I'll break down 3 key ideas I picked up and give you examples of how these techniques can make tough conversations like these a lot more effective. The first one is storytelling. One of the first big ideas from narrative persuasion was about using storytelling as a way to reach people on a personal level. Unlike just listing facts and giving data, stories help people connect with an issue emotionally, which can really be effective if you're trying to change someone's perspective. One example of this is you can imagine talking to a group of young people about sustainable energy. Instead of just explaining the benefits with facts, you could share a story about someone who switched from local energy sources to solar energy and saw these changes in their energy bills and their overall impact on the environment. This personal touch makes the issue feel real and relatable. It's not just theory, it's an experience that could be their own. The second is keeping the conversation as relaxed as possible. Another thing that stood out to me was how the host used casual conversations, or his style, to explain these complex ideas. It makes these tough topics easier to understand and keeps listeners engaged. It's like having a coffee chat rather than a lecture, which is a refreshing approach, especially for these challenging and sometimes emotional subjects. One example of this is if you're discussing something complex, say like climate action, with people who may have not had a lot of background knowledge. A more comfortable and laid-back approach can be helpful. Rather than driving straight to technicalities, start by asking them what they think and make it a discussion. Keeping it relaxed makes people feel like their views matter and they'll be engaging more. But most importantly, you have to listen. The third is we have to be mindful of the values and the backgrounds of our audience and our guest. The third takeaway for me was the importance of being aware of the beliefs and these values and backgrounds of your audience. The podcast mentioned that understanding where people are coming from can help in presenting information in a way that feels respectful and applies to their life in some way. A good example of this is if you're talking to a local community about conservation. Find out what aspects of nature that they enjoy the most. Find out if they have local parks that they really enjoy and love, whether it's for cultural reasons or maybe it supplies their livelihood. Tailoring your approach to reflect these values can help them see conversation not as an agenda to change their mind, but as something that actually aligns with things that are already important to them. This respect for their views can build trust and make them more open to these conversations. So, in conclusion, storytelling, being mindful of who your audience is, and having as relaxed of an approach as possible. Those are 3 powerful techniques for creating meaningful connections and building understanding with your audience or guest, if in this case you have a guest. But I appreciate you listening, and I hope these ideas inspire you to approach conversations a little differently, and let's find better ways to share what matters, especially on the things that are important. Thank you.